Hello and welcome to the Stronghold Digital Mining Daily Update. My name's Steven Zeiner. Today is Tuesday, November 21st, 2023. So, I was taking a look at the Stronghold Digital Mining news release, which came out during our Q3 2023 investor presentation, right? And it mentions that the company, meaning Stronghold Digital Mining, believes that its process, basically its process for carbon capture, will... Let's see, can I find where I was reading? Yes, the company believes that its process will qualify for the carbonated materials methodology for CO2 removal on the Puro registry. Okay, let's stop right there. So, the carbonated materials methodology. So, I went to the puro.earth website and I did a search and I discovered a category called carbonated building elements. I think... Not 100% sure, but I think this is basically the methodology, essentially, that Stronghold Digital Mining is referencing. You may remember that in our Q3 2023 investor presentation, I believe it may have been Money Matt. And by the way, that's the new nickname for Matt, our CFO, to be distinguished from Legal Matt, I suppose, who is one of our, attorneys, right? Part of the management team who works on the legal side of things. So I believe it might have been Money Matt who said, if we, and I'm paraphrasing, if we're able to match an existing methodology on the Puro registry, it can cut down the approval time basically from potentially a year to maybe several months. So when I look under carbonated building elements, I find one supplier. This supplier is in the United Kingdom, and sure enough, it's a direct air capture methodology. Mineralization takes place. When I click on the audit statement, really fascinating stuff, I see this lovely chemical diagram of sorts under the technology description portion of the audit. I am not entirely sure I understand everything here, but I do see some things that jump out at me. I do see that CO2 goes into a mixture and out comes basically calcium carbonate. So remember, in the case of Stronghold Digital Mining, we have this calcium oxide, right, which is basically contained in our beneficial use ash, which is treated with limestone to help mitigate the sulfur, right, that's in the mine waste, which we are reclaiming. So you have this calcium oxide, you get air exposure to it, it absorbs CO2, carbon dioxide. The end result is something called calcium carbonate, of which I have a little bottle right here. Now, this is a nutritional supplement. I don't think Stronghold Digital Mining is going to get into the nutraceutical market, right? And I think this is created in a way that's very different from what we'd be doing, right, at Scrubgrass. But with all of that said, our, the end byproduct, so to speak, is calcium carbonate, which is where the CO2 essentially resides, for a layman's way of describing it. That's very similar, if not identical, in terms of methodology to what I'm seeing right here, right now on the Puro.earth website, right? When I look at the audit statement for this particular company in the United Kingdom. So that's very, very good news. Because it tells me, hey, what Stronghold Digital Mining was talking about during the investor presentation, yeah, like there's a basis in reality for it. Not that I doubted that there would be, but it's kind of cool to be able to see with my own eyes, right? What does this all mean? What does this mean for our stock price? Hey, what does it mean like for our investment in this company? We are co-owners of this business. We are shareholders of this business. We are, at least some of us are, strong proponents of the mission and purpose of this business. What I think this means is that we truly, I think, are on a very, very interesting path. We're going to find out a lot more information about the amount of time it takes for the beneficial use ash, which we are putting into these carbolith devices. We're going to find out more about how long it takes to carbonate the ash. It seems as if, though, the question isn't whether or not the ash will carbonate. The question is, how long does it take to reach an acceptable amount of carbonation. And by acceptable, let's kind of keep it in the range of 8%, 10%, 12%, right? Ideally moving closer and closer to 12%. The revenue potential from this truly is remarkable, okay? Something which was not overtly stated during the Q3 2023 investor presentation, but I could tell, I could just sense this. Because I sense it myself when I look at our homemade Stronghold Digital Mining shareholder dashboard at designer.com. You know, Bitcoin mining, right? The Bitcoin mining ecosystem, the economics of Bitcoin mining, it's a tough business. Okay, let's keep it real. You know, you buy these rapidly depreciating Bitcoin mining machines, you plug them in, right? You need to have a data center. Right, there's all this capex that goes into putting this Bitcoin mining machine to work. Then you see the Bitcoin network hash rate just going like through the roof. And it's a challenge, right? It's a concern. Then there's a Bitcoin halving that comes up. You know, I could just sense when, I believe again, it was Money Matt who discussed the question in response, someone asked, one of the analysts asked, hey, what about the 25 megawatts of end-to-end data center equipment? I think it may have been Kevin over at H.C. Wainwright who asked this. I think, don't quote me on it. And Money Matt said, hey, we want to be really thoughtful about how we address this question. And I get that. I get that. Let me be maybe less thoughtful and just kind of cut to the chase. There's no way we're going to deploy this 25 megawatts of end-to-end data center capacity, not if this carbon capture initiative shows the results that I think it's going to show. We already have a basket of assets, right? We already have 2 data centers. We already own like 80% of the Bitcoin mining machines in those data centers. The other 20%, right, is through Win-Win Hosting Plus arrangements with partners like Foundry and Canaan. I could easily see us saying, hey, we're going to just sell the 25 megawatts of end-to-end data center capacity. Maybe we'll fetch 10, 12, $15 million for it. That's what we'll get. And we're going to invest that in carboliths because the ROI is amazing and it's not a market that's subject to halving. Carboliths themselves, as compared to like Bitcoin mining machines, I mean, again, I haven't seen what's inside a carbolith. I get the impression they are ingeniously engineered shipping containers that, accept ash, right? You put ash into them. Air flows through the ash. There's a stacking effect, otherwise known as like a chimney effect. So you've got airflow, and essentially it enables the carbonation of that ash so that there can be carbon capture. I would be astonished if in 4 years or 5 years, a carbolith would have to just be thrown away and a brand new carbolith bought to take its place. Whereas with a Bitcoin mining machine, hey, if we go back in time 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I mean, those machines are basically obsolete. You can't really use them today. That's a problem. I mean, think about it. Does Stronghold Digital Mining want to be like replenishing $100 million worth of Bitcoin mining machines in 5 years? I hope not. I think our business model may even evolve to saying, hey, we're going to drive down our net cost of power thanks to this, carbon capture initiative. And instead of being 80%, we're going to own our own Bitcoin mining machines and 20%, Win-Win Hosting Plus arrangements, I think that could potentially flip. And we'll be like, hey, we want to be like 80% Win-Win Hosting Plus arrangements where we can provide world-class data centers, best-in-class net cost of power to other Bitcoin miners who want to come in and host their Bitcoin mining machines. Hey, and yeah, maybe, and we'll have direct exposure to Bitcoin mining economics as we do now through our, win-win hosting plus arrangements. But we don't want to get involved with the capex involved in having to buy $100 million plus worth of Bitcoin mining machines in 5 years. We've got a tremendous opportunity to generate potentially upwards of $200+ million, I think, in Bitcoin mining revenue this cycle, meaning this potential bull market cycle. But it would not surprise me if our business model evolves a little bit. It really wouldn't. And as for the 25 megawatts of end-to-end data center capacity, I could totally see that being sold if these test results are anywhere near as good as they have the potential to be. Because that capital is best deployed in buying carboliths. I mean, it's just, if we are data-driven allocators of capital, I love that phrase, and it's a true phrase. If we are truly data-driven allocators of capital, there's absolutely no effing way we're going to allocate capital to buy more Bitcoin mining machines to, put into a third site, which we don't even host ourselves, right? This would be through some PPA arrangement, some other location. It just doesn't make sense. Okay, great. We buy all those machines or we try to fill them up, right? We're spending some money. There's some CapEx to even get the data center equipment installed. And what are we doing? We're jumping into what's already a very crowded Bitcoin network hash rate. I don't think so. So anyway, I want to keep this relatively short today. Let's stay positive. Let's be great. We're going to see each other tomorrow. I think our stock's going to still be under some pressure through the end of the year. But this carbon capture initiative truly, as I've said now a bazillion times, it truly is transformative. And I hope that we really focus on this and that we make it work, because it will truly transform this business in a good way. So, okay, that's all for now.